Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a knitter, I'm a crocheter, a mom, a teacher, a wife, and I like to record videos of myself sharing details about my knitting and crocheting updates, as well as works in progress, acquisitions, just my love of knitting, and occasionally I will share little tidbits about my personal life and how my crafting experience will impact that. And today, there's a couple things I would love to go over. First things first, happy Friday. It is such a wonderful day today. It was beautiful. The weather was perfect. My students were just doing all the things I wanted them to do. I don't know what happened. The traffic was light. I was able to get to and from each location I needed to get to without any issue. No complaints whatsoever. So happy Friday to all of you. I hope that your Friday or whatever day you're watching this is going as well as mine. So first things first, zero acquisitions. I am still on the no buy. And it's not that I am judging anyone who isn't doing this particular practice. I've just decided that I have acquired way too much yarn and that in order to make room for projects that are hidden in different cupboards of this particular room, I decided that I'm just going to use what's in my collection in order to make sure that I fall back in love with it. And it's actually been pretty amazing to find yarns I was really excited about when I initially purchased it, and now I'm finally putting it to use, or to find yarns that I didn't have any clue whatsoever what I was going to do with, and finally finding a project that really makes sense and works well with it. And so I am still in the midst of doing that. I am also still working on my Copenhagen cardigan, so I might as well transition into that because I have no acquisitions to share. So my Copenhagen cardigan is coming along really, really nice. I cannot complain. I am using Mrs. Babs Laurel Falls yarn in the color Dark Arcana, I think is what it's called. This is a sports weight yarn, and really quick, just in case you didn't peep it last time. Yeah, I was right, Laura Fonz. It's 100% superwash. You get blah blah. You get 300 yards with 275 meters, and the suggested needle gauge is 5 to 7 stitches using a US 3 or 5, or a crochet hook with 4 to 5 stitches using a US E or 4. I don't use the US numbers. Do you? I never got into it, even when I was actively crocheting, because I admit I don't crochet as much as I used to since I've been in this relationship with knitting. But I never use the hook letters. Like I've always just used 3.5 millimeters, so on and so forth. And I wonder why. Maybe because it's not that my grandmother ever used, she never shared with me the hook size, but she was the one who really taught me how to do something with my ability to crochet. Like I knew how to make a single stitch and I knew how to make a chain or whatnot, but she actually taught me how to go into it, make a double crochet, and then turn that double crochet into a granny square. And then from there, I've been able to do additional things. But with all that said, I'm just curious, reflecting on myself, when and why I never use US references. But anywho, amazing yarn, really loving it. I know it's going to pill. It's not like a question of that will it, but it's when will it. I can tell that it's going to pill based on some of my interaction with the yarn. I already see, I don't know how well you can see this. I probably should put some light on. But yeah, it's definitely going to peel, but that's okay. I think it adds that little special flavor to it because the champagne cardigan that I made with the Sanders Garn merino, it pills. So hopefully it won't peel as much as that particular garment. As I know with superwash yarn, you don't get as much peeling. So I finished one sleeve, as you can see. Did a fantastic job. I was trying to give myself a compliment. And I did the pockets. The pockets are unique. It's where so this is what kind of threw me off the first time I started the pockets, but then I caught on. So what you're supposed to do is once you are on the right side, you are going to knit across the specific number outlined in the pattern, and then you're going to knit a specific amount of stitches for the size pocket, and the number of stitches will depend on the size that you're doing, and then you go back and forth until it reaches a specific length. And again, the length is depending on what size that you're doing. So if you're doing a medium or large, you're going to be doing two different length for that. And I know for some others they probably would do like a longer pocket or not, but then after you do that, you join it back together and then you knit back and forth. It's a very unique construction Well, at least it's unique to me. I've never done it before. And they do have a help video to help you with that to ensure that you are successful in knitting that. So, nevertheless, I really like it. It's pretty, it actually boosted my energy in working on this particular project because I'm not going to lie, once I finished the sleeve and I was back on the body, I'm like, I'm kind of bored with this. And I didn't want to do a heavily textured pattern because I'm still recovering from my oatmeal sweater test knit. And so I was like, what can I do to kind of keep myself engaged? And I'll talk about the other projects I did in order to kind of deal with my disengagement with this. But I got re-engaged again when I came to the part of the pattern when it says to work on the uh, pockets. So I was able to do both the left and the right pocket, and it came out just like what the pattern's expecting. And what I ended up doing was continue to work back and forth in the body until I ran out of the yarn. And now I'm doing my second sleeve, and I'm going to finish my second sleeve. I actually ended up picking up about 4 extra stitches by accident, and I didn't realize it until after I pick it up. See, this is a problem when you are knitting at 10 o'clock at night and you should be sleeping. But anywho, I did pick up 2 mini stitches, so I am making my decreases earlier than what the pattern calls for and whatnot. And so far I've made 2, and it looks like I'm on a round where I need to make my third and fourth one. So working on that, it's coming along. I'm going to, once I get to the same length of the same number of stitches I picked up on this side, then I will knit it around until I do that. And my goal is to count the number of stitches I have in between each stitch marker, so that way my decreases can be identical to the other sweater. I'm not gonna lie, I keep saying that today. I guess that's my phrase. What's going to happen is that I'm going to get like halfway and I'm going to stop doing that. I can already tell, but I'm hoping I will do it identical because this is one of the reasons why I have all these stitch markers in place. And I did the exact same thing for my DRK everyday sweater. I marked with stitch markers every single time I did a decrease for one sleeve, and I did the same thing for the other. And again, that pattern, that sweater, excuse me, is the one sweater that actually fits me perfectly, where I don't have any issues with the fit of it. The collar is stretching out a little bit, and I think that's just because of the yarn in itself. And I think if I put like an elastic, something, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to watch YouTube University and see what I can find in order to fix that little tidbit right there. But nevertheless, I'm very excited. Oops, I got it upside down. I'm very excited about the progress I made with this particular pattern, and I cannot wait to finish it. My goal is to, sorry, sinuses have been killing me. My goal is to finish this by March, no, excuse me, it is May, to finish this by May 15th. And then I can spend the rest of my month of May working on my stockinette dress because I am still dealing with some elbow pain. This one feels so much better. I don't have as much pain anymore, nor am I experiencing as much numbness in my fingers. But now this elbow is starting to kick it up a notch. And what I've been doing, excuse me, my nose is running. What I have been doing is using a pillow, and that has been really helpful. I don't know if you recalled, I initially purchased a boppy, and I was going to use that as my little hold when I'm crocheting and knitting, but I decided to gift that as a baby shower gift because I found that the pillow works just fine. And I have a bunch of pillows around my house, and so I just put 2 pillows sometimes on, so that way both my elbows can rest on it. And since I've been doing that, I haven't been experiencing as much fatigue nor as much pain in my elbows. So I'm going to keep doing that as well. And then I'm trying to be really mindful of like the tension I feel in my shoulders. Do I have my shoulders up, or am I relaxed when I'm sitting? Am I sitting in a comfortable position where my head can rest? Am I holding my knitting up to my eyes? Am I holding it at this particular length? Because I want to make sure that my posture is meeting the expectations for my body, so that way when I'm knitting, I'm not feeling that tension. And I notice when I knit in my lap, when I have my work in my lap, that I don't feel the fatigue or pain in my elbows or any other parts. So I'm going to try to stick to that. We'll see how long I can maintain that. So in addition to the significant progress I made on that particular sweater, I am still working on my Helico knitting socks. So I only have one sock done. Let me put it the right way. I only have one sock done. and when I say done, I'm like near finished. What I was planning on doing is casting on the second sock, but I realized that this is on a 2 millimeter needle. Yeah, this is 2 millimeter, right? Or is it 2.5? Yep, it's 2 millimeter. You know how hard it is to see, child. So I am unable to cast on a second sock at the same time because I don't want to get second sock. And then so far, so good. I haven't really suffered from that from too much. But one thing I do want to make sure that I do is that as soon as I finish this one, I have to immediately cast on the other one. This is coming out really amazing. I really like this helical knitting sock, and I do see myself doing this again. I would love to do it in black and gray. I would love to do it in a variety of different colors. Unfortunately, I have so many finger weight skeins of yarn that's appropriate for sock knitting that I think would be ideal. For the heel, I decided to do a shadow wrap heel. So I use the No Fear Shorty sock as inspiration. That particular pattern comes with a very in-depth tutorial by Denise DeSantis. And with her tutorial, she goes through the steps like real time on how to do each section of the sock, starting with the cuff all the way down to the toe. And she also includes other additional bonus videos, as she calls it. So there's a bonus video about how to do the shadow wrap heel, for example. There's a bonus video about how to do the kitcheneer stitch. So I decided, she inspired me to do the helical knitting. Once I saw her sock, I wanted to knit that particular sock so bad, and I just never got around to it. And then I was just, one day I'm like, I need to cast on something. I was feeling disengaged from my Copenhagen sweater. So I needed something on my needles that I knew I can bring on the go and that will allow me to have a mindless knit when I'm at work during some times that are appropriate for knitting, and also when I'm just sitting at my son's soccer game waiting for it to move forward into the next inning. Or no, it's not inning, half. That's the word. I never played soccer, if you can tell. So anywho, I really love it. What I decided to do, I have two yarns. So this yarn is called Rhubarb from Needles at the Ready. And this is a hand-dyed yarn where it's 75% superwash and 25% nylon on their sock base, on a Keeley sock base. And I love it. It doesn't split. I like the twist of it. And he did such a phenomenal job at the various colors. I can totally see myself knitting just the sock in itself without this stripe, but I knew I wanted to use this yarn and I knew I wanted to do the stripe. So that's where we're at. And it comes with at least 400 yards, if not more, of yarn. And so I went ahead and like made like a little mini cake of it. And as you can see, I pretty much got through a whole entire sock with using it. Now, I wanted to do some little variation because I watched Summer Lee's podcast. I don't know if you checked her out. She has really great energy and she's very enthusiastic about sock knitting. And so what I did after watching one of her podcast episodes, I was like, you know what? I want to, add a little spice to my vanilla socks. And I'm already adding spice by doing the helical knitting, but I know I can get bored with that over a course of time. So I wanted to add a little flavor to it. So I found some green yarn in my stash that came from one of my Advents. I did the okay, let's try again. Magpie Fibers Advent. And although I didn't really enjoy the yarns I got, I just had really big expectations. I talked about this already, but I'll just say it one more time. I had really big expectations for that particular Advent because A, it was nearly $300. B, it came in not one, not two, but three big old boxes. So I just assume I'm about to get some amazing, unbelievable materials in there, and all it was 8 skeins of mini yarn and one full skein of sock yarn, and it was like, and little trinkets that I could have picked up in Dollar Tree. And so again, I understand the amount of effort that goes into doing hand-dyed yarn, but it didn't need the showmanship of it. Like, and it was really cute. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, it was cute. Let me actually turn on the light because it's starting to get dark in here. It was somewhat cute. They had with the boxes, but anyway, I digress. This is the yarn I got from my Advent, the one and only Advent I will be buying. I might do a mystery sock if Woolens and Nosh has one. I want to do their mystery sock because I've been influenced by Ray from Needles at the Ready because he did that, and I'm like, ooh, I like that, and I like the fact that with one of the mystery sock purchases that he did, you can see the yarn, like you just had to knit to the pattern and it had these specific color changes. I just like stuff like that. It was really cute. And I love the newspaper one he did where it came in like old newspaper and the yarn was compatible to it. It was really dope. And so if that ever opens up, I think I'm subscribed to their newsletter, so hopefully I will be getting notice about that sooner than later. Anyway, coming back. I had this particular advent. I have, like I said, those 8 mini skeins plus a dozen more of mini skeins, and I saw this color, and it's very similar to some of the specks of green in this one. I know it's a little hard to see, but there's brown and pink and like here. See that? Hopefully it's capturing. Wow, my nails look huge. See, there's that little speck of green right there, that pea green, and it goes really well with this. And so I was like, oh, I'll do this as a hill. And initially I was going to do helico knitting for the hill, but I tried it twice and it just did not come out well. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a solid color, which I'm actually glad I did because now you can really see the shadow wrap. So this is my second time doing this particular hill, and I think this is my hill. I didn't like the Afterthought hill as much, and I was okay with the hill flap. It's not my favorite hill, but this one, I love the way it fits on my hill. It actually feels like it fits perfectly. So I got this. I'm going to keep doing that one. And I did the yellow part is another, this I think I got from yarn I purchased. It was by Black Hand Dyed. Oh, it's not Lola Bean. It's another one. It's not Lola Bean. Lola Bean is something else. It's like Lala. I don't know. It's just this random woman I found on Instagram, and I'm like I said, I always try to give support to Black businesses, and so I purchased it. If I can find her shop, I would definitely include the link there. She had some cool yarn, and she was clearly a fan of Beyonce's Renaissance tour because the yarn was named after Beyonce's Renaissance tour. At least some of the skeins of yarn. So this is my second work in progress. I am going to gift these socks. One of my peers at work, she celebrated her birthday, and she saw this. She was like, "Oh my God, those are socks." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You want them?" She was like, "Yes." I was like, "Cool, they're yours." Because I have plenty of yarn. I know I'm gonna have enough yarn because I'm doing this as a shorty. So I'm gonna give these to her, and she tried it on today. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it fits." I was like, "I know." It's always surprises me too when things fit. So, and she's knit worthy. I've made her two other things before, and she's worn them. I made her a cardigan, a crochet cardigan. She wore it. I made her a sweater, a Kim Hargraves sweater. She wore it. She wears it actually. So I don't mind making things for her because I know she's actually going to wear it. Because sometimes some people don't do that. I'm not going to even mention my other project because I have done nothing other than get it on my needles and get to the point where I'm going back and forth before joining it around. So there's absolutely nothing to show with that one. I've made absolutely no progress. And what I'm referring to is my mini mock neck tank by Jessie May. My goal is to turn that tank into a maxi dress, and I definitely have enough yarn to do so because I only need about five and a half, about 550 yards to make the mock tank at the length of my waist. And so I have more than enough. So I'm just going to keep knitting and around till I run out. So I'm going to have the upper body done and then knit all the way and around till I run out. And instead of doing for the bottom, I most likely will do either I-cord bind off or let it do a roll up because I like the way those look with the split hem. So I'm going to play around with it before I make my decision. But that's all that's happening with that particular garment. And that's something I don't foresee being finished until either the end of this month or the beginning of next. Luckily, we have pretty cool weather still in May and June. It will stay in this 60s, 70s, maybe hit 80s once we hit June, but it won't consistently stay in the 80s until what you call it, July. And again, that dress is still really ideal to wear in that because it's just like your shoulders are free and it's not a wool fabric where I'm going to feel super hot. So I think it will be fine. I worn, I should say, acrylic crochet tops in the summer and never had an issue. So I'm hopeful that this won't get one either. So that's it about my works in progress, my acquisitions. And so nothing else to share other than my knitting plans. So this one I'm actually going to refer to my notes without my trusty journal. And I've been reflecting a lot about what is going to be the 43rd birthday cast on. I've been thinking about what do I want to focus on for this summer as well. So I made three goals for myself: identifying, finishing my cardigan, getting the body of the dress to be jointed around, and to cast on a new birthday. So that's my goal. So what I decided to do was to go into my library and to look at all of the patterns I have queued, coupled with all the patterns I have in my library, and trying to figure out which one I was going to do. So I narrowed it down to 10 patterns. And then I went on to this free online name generator where if you spin the wheel, it will select it. So I did that, and the pattern that was selected was the zipper sweater. So the zipper sweater is a petite knit pattern, and it is a pattern I've been thinking about knitting for almost a year now. I really love the pattern. I love it so much that I purchased both the junior as well as the men's light because I like the way the men's light fits a little bit better. I purchased both of those, and I went ahead and purchased enough sweater quantity yarn for my husband, my stepson, as well as myself, and nothing. And it's been staying there behind me. See? Oh no, you can see it. It's over there. Now the issue is, now that I know what pattern I'm going to use, now I need to decide on which yarn. And so with the yarn choices I have in the amount of yarn underneath the size I'm going to do, so I decided I'm going to do my size. I'm going to knit one for myself first, make sure I have a firm understanding of the pattern before doing it for someone else. I found that helped me a lot with the binoculars. Because with this zipper sweater pattern I'm going to knit, it has a unique collar where you're obviously installing a sweater, a zipper. And so my hope is that if I can successfully construct it for myself, then I can then make one for my family. And I want to do it in a color that's universal because we all have a habit of putting on each other's clothes. Quite often I will wear my husband's clothes and he sometimes wear my sweatshirts or t-shirts as well. So I figure if I can make it like a universal size where all of us can fit into, because then sometimes my kids even put on our clothing, and if I can get a color that's neutral that all everyone would like, then it will work out. So the options I have, like my husband loves color black. He also loves color navy blue. My sons like the color red, blue, and I think that's it for this week. You know, every week it changes with them. And my stepson asked what's his favorite color, and he said, "Oh, I don't know." And so it was like a top teenager. So we'll see what color he ends up liking. So now I think I'm just going to do it in my Cascade 220. Maybe go here and go grab it. I'm like making this decision in real time. I really have been thinking a lot about it. Like I've been writing about it. Like I've been obsessed with trying to make the decision. One of the issues is that with this particular 220 version that is more worsted weight than it is a DK weight. The version I own is DK weight. However, I figure if I go up, either go up or down a size, I'm going to see what I can get. So my goal tonight, well, right, because I doesn't have it bad. My goal tonight is to do a swatch. So I'll either do a swatch tonight or tomorrow because I want to have the swatch ready. I want to have the yarn selected so that way when I bring this with me, because this particular project will most likely be traveling with me, I'm going to make it as easy as possible. Um, and I also want to make sure that it's lightweight, which is the reason why I'm a little hesitant about doing it in this particular yarn because um, my concern is going to be a little heavy. So my hope is that either I can go up with the needle size or to elongate the stitches, hopefully. I don't know. And doing it with the baby, I'm doing it using 4.5 needles. And so with this one, I cast on a size large, and because I wanted the upper body to fit perfectly. And then I'm knitting the body in the sleeves in 4.5 millimeter. And the gauge I'm getting is I like the fabric. I don't even know what gauge I'm getting, to be perfectly honest. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do some gauge right now. All right, so let's see. With this, I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12,